Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Counterpart, the new Starz original series starring J.K. Simmons. Season 1, Episode 1, of course. It's called The Crossing, and we will, of course, start spoiler-free because it is in Episode 1. We will warn you somewhere in the middle before we go into spoilers, so you can avoid plot details if you like. So that's what we're going to do. So this is a science fiction series set in Berlin. And J.K. Simmons plays this guy guy named Howard, who works at this company. He's not really sure what they do. It's all kind of mysterious, but there's a lot of security protocols. It all seems to be research based of some kind, maybe. You know, it's very. We'll get into that obviously in spoilers, more specifically. But the premise of the show is that this place is the Crossing, and it's a crossing that was created 30 years ago during the Cold War. So obviously being in Berlin's a very symbolic thing because you had East and West and all that. But basically it was a crossing into a parallel universe where from the moment that the bridge was created, things started to happen differently on either side. Because before they were identical, which maybe even implies it was more of a split in two than it was.
Yeah, I think it was created at that point rather than it was just a doorway opened.
But you could argue either way. You could argue that maybe they'll actually get into this deeper at some point and explore which one it is, if it even matters. Because arguably it doesn't.
I don't think it does. I think it's just a piece of world building more than anything.
But he, the version of him on the other side is a bit more of a badass. He's more of a higher operative. He actually goes on missions. He can take care of himself. He gets into missions and combat, all that kind of thing. Whereas the main one that we know, Howard, he is, he's a bit of a pencil pusher. He wants a promotion. He's not quite getting it, but he's never gotten to that level where he's someone who's intimidating to others. He's not
Definitely
him.
not.
So the premise of the show, the first episode, is that the one from the other side, we'll call him Howard 2, for lack of a better way of differentiating. Howard 2 comes over to our side and is like, hey, there's a plot, there's some scheming going on, there's infiltration, things are going down, don't tell anyone about me, we have to work together and try and solve this, and that kind of sets up the plot, and off we go. And our Howard is not really high up enough to know any of this, but because the counterpart, maybe that's what we should call him actually, the counterpart, maybe that's a better thing to call him. The counterpart is like, no, we need him to make all this work because I can pretend to be him, things like that. This will be useful in the long run. So that's the premise of the show. The quick spoiler-free synopsis. So I'll ask the question: what did you think of episode 1 of Counterpart?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Okay.
No, I might see if you liked it as well.
No, I like it too. I think it's definitely got a different. It's because we've had various time travel and alternate reality things recently. I feel like there's a lot of similar ideas that are popping up over the last, say, 6 months between various shows. And I think what's interesting for this one is that this one's definitely a drier take on it, where it's very it's not very flashy. It's very kind of serious thriller. It's definitely treating it like a political espionage almost.
Very slow burn.
Yeah, it's very slow burn. And I do think at times the episode was maybe just a touch too slow. That'd be my main criticism.
I think it's a full hour long. I don't think it quite needs to be.
Nah, I think you could probably cut about 5-10 minutes if you.
Yeah, get down to 50-52.
And I think that tightened up a little bit, but I mean I like this type of story for a start. J.K. Simmons is fantastic, as you expect. He's playing two different versions of the same character, who were the same but have grown very different over the last 30 years. So it sets up that sort of stuff. His wife, who, as far as episode 1 is concerned, is in a coma. She was hit by a car, so she's in a bed. But Olivia Williams plays his wife, who I know mainly from Dollhouse, which was also from Joss Whedon, who did the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
There we go.
Yeah. Speaking of people from other shows, though, Jeremy Bammer's in this, and I didn't recognise him at first because of the English accent. Because I mean, he is actually English, but I know from Battlestar Galactica, and he doesn't have an English accent in that. So it took me a second when he started speaking. I'm like, wait, that looks like Apollo. Oh, it is Apollo, right? He's just speaking funny.
Yes. They do that thing with their voices.
Yes. He's got a very proper accent in this.
He does, yeah.
It's very civilized, pompous even, one might say. It does suit his character, what he's there to do. But, so you got these characters, and it really plays with the idea of the differences between the two worlds, which I like. There's some stuff early on that sets up what Howard does is his daily routine. And it's all kind of setups for later when things are different, and if anyone notices that things are different. It kind of, and I was like, okay, right, I get why we're getting these details, because they're going to be important later, and they set these things up. So,
and something I found really interesting in this, the alternate world is it's essentially an alternate history for the past 30 years. Usually, when you have an alternate history story, there's a key difference that shapes things in a different way, whereas. Maybe there is, and we just don't know about it yet. But there doesn't seem to be. It just seems to be small decisions that have, built up over time.
It's a ripple effect kind of thing.
Yeah.
The only things, I mean, visually, the architecture's a bit different. A lot of the buildings look a little bit fancier when we see them. Yeah. There's one. I actually thought it was a pyramid in the background at first, but it's not. It's actually just a triangular arc. That, but it was dark, so it looked like a pyramid. I was like, is that a pyramid in Berlin? What the hell? What happened on this earth? But that's kind of cool. And their phones look a little bit fancier.
Yeah, but nothing major.
Because the phones it almost looks like just a bit of glass that he was holding at the start of the episode. Yeah. So there's little things like that. I think it's interesting that the crossing building that deals with all this, and we'll talk about the details of what the work's like in the spoiler section. But one of the things that I noticed in there is that all the technology in that building is all dated. Because at first I was actually thinking that our world, quote unquote, the main world, was actually kind of the opposite, where it was all kind of backdated. But it's actually just this building. For whatever reason, all current tech is taken off of them when they go in, and it's all old computers and old tape machines and stuff.
Yeah, like all the phones and stuff being taken off them, you just go, oh, security.
Yeah, but then you see the tech they're using.
Them using the older computers, which is surely more susceptible.
My working theory on that, just based on this episode, this is a bit of a shot in the dark, but this is my theory, is that they're scared that bringing any new tech in that didn't exist at the time when the breach happened will close it or something, or will affect it in some way.
Okay.
That'd be my guess right now, because it's all tech that existed at the time 30 years ago.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so these old computers with the big green text and all the,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense.
That's my guess. But I mean, maybe it's something they know about. Or I'm saying it's them worried about that it'll do something. Maybe they actually know it'll do something because something happened at some point.
Yeah.
Someone brought in a Walkman in the 90s and it caused chaos.
Yeah, I wonder if it's we know a big part they have intelligence agencies kind of going at each side. They're trying to scope out the opposition, so to speak. I wonder if it is okay if they get in, they're going to see this building first. If we just keep them in here and they report back to this building, they'll think we're still behind. We got the surprise angle on them.
It's a false sense of security, yeah, because you're making them think that you're actually
inferior. Technologically speaking, inferior.
Less advanced. I think was the phrase I was going to use. I almost said less civilized, but that's not what I meant. Having shitty technology does not necessarily mean you're uncivilized.
No,
they are different things. It can go hand in hand, but they're not the same things.
Yeah, technology is often a sign of civilization.
Yeah, but it's not a proof of it.
No.
So I like that. I like the obviously J.K. Simmons. I think is the best part right now, right?
Don't think that's a surprise.
No, it takes its time. It introduces to his character, and we see what he's like, so that we understand how different it is when we meet the counterpart, and that all works quite well. As I say, it's just a bit of a slow burn. Maybe at times a little too slow.
It plays like a dry spy film.
It almost does, yeah. It almost does.
Which is, I can see, depending on how much it leans into the alternate stuff, I could see you growing to maybe not enjoy this as much.
It's possible. This is the thing, like, when they were having conversation about, moles on the 4th floor and we can't talk and no one else can know about us, yeah, that stuff kind of, like, I zone out of that almost. Like, I'm almost uninterested in that. But once they actually set up the mission they were on, and it was all the things we'd actually set up earlier in the episode came into play, I was really into all that. So it just kind of depends. This episode I don't think leaned into it too heavily for me, but I mean it's possible it could.
It could do, yeah. It's introducing the ideas at the very least that they're going to be around. I'm sure. It's just how heavily.
But I question so we have a villain in this episode again. We'll talk in spoilers about more specifics, but why is that person a villain? What is their goal? What is going on? There's a lot of questions we don't actually have the answers to.
There is. It's very much just this episode, at least, is very much just going. No. Here's the situation. Here's the main character. Worry about the rest later.
Yeah, if anything, I almost think the way it's introduced, the core idea of the crossing, is almost a little too blunt. It just happens.
Here you go. We're going to tell you this now.
Yeah, it's a bit of an exposition dump almost.
It is. Yeah.
Which it was to an extent that Howard doesn't know about this, so it's a reaction that's kind of like he's hearing all this at once as well, so he's kind of overloaded, and it kind of works and puts you in the same place as him. But just as a storytelling device,
easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just feels a bit clunky, I guess.
Yeah,
bit abrupt. But no, I mean I enjoyed the episode overall though. I think like I say, the action once it got down, there's a couple of really nice tense moments.
Yeah, definitely.
So I appreciate that. I liked the lower key music that was kind of pulsating just sort of behind.
Do you know what? There was one point in particular that reminded me. It was almost identical to some of the main themes from Mindhunter.
I can see that. It's got a similar tone actually, despite the fact that the subject's pretty different.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. There's one tense moment, I'll just say, through a car window, which I thought was very effective.
Yeah.
It worked really well.
Very much a hold your breath moment.
Yeah, so it's nailing a lot of things. It's maybe just a touch on the bloated side. That'd be my main complaint now.
Yeah.
It's clunky introduction to one or two things and a bit on the bloated side. But I'm intrigued by the overall plot. I'm intrigued by these places on different sides. I think we'll maybe learn more about the second Earth as we go on as well. We don't see too much of it in this one, but I feel like now that we've introduced both sides and both Howards, like we'll see the Counterpart Earth as well.
There's something I'm waiting for, which is the inevitable point where our Howard goes over.
Oh, it has to happen, yeah.
Yeah.
It has to happen eventually.
I feel like that we probably won't learn too much about that side until we go through with him. And,
honestly, that sounds like season finale material to me. Season 1 finale.
It does, yeah.
That said,
the plot beat to do it earlier would be to have them swap places for the mission.
Yeah, I mean they could do that. But it sounds like the sort of thing to me that that's your big season 1 finale.
No, I get it.
That's the special thing you do at that point to make it exciting.
Yeah.
Also, this is the other thing is like they've not done it to us yet, but they could actually play us at some point and not let us know which one's which. And
I thought they were doing it at the end of this episode, honestly.
Oh no, they're saving it. They're saving it for.
No, but there was a moment where I was like, "Oh, are they doing that?"
And I think. Right now, it's actually really easy to tell them apart because of just because of how different they are. I think as a regular Howard becomes more confident, and we even see a bit of growth in that in this episode, where he just feels a little bit more confident by the end because he's seen this sort of stronger version of himself.
He knows he can do that.
Yeah, and I think as he goes down that path a little bit more, we'll get to a point where maybe they can swerve us, and we won't know which one's which. So I think that's interesting. I've also got other theory, but I'll save that for spoilers, which I think we'll go into. I think we'll go into spoilers now. So full spoilers for episode 1 of Counterpart. So maybe I know this kind of takes away the purpose of the show somewhat, but I really, really think that at the end of a season, not necessarily this season, right? Could be the end of season 2. I really think Counterpart's going to die, and regular Howard's going to have to kind of take up the fight and be as strong as he was.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not just out of nowhere with that prediction.
No. And that could be an end of season 1 thing.
It could be, but I definitely think it's happening at some point. I think the story of this show is him becoming the other version, but without losing. Because I think one of the most interesting scenes in this episode is where they sit down and they've got some downtime before the mission, and they're just comparing how things are different. Counterpart's got high cholesterol. He doesn't think he does
that
anyway.
He knows of, yeah.
But he could do. Maybe he has to go to the doctor, get himself checked out. But these things. The tie and we have the difference, of course. Howard's okay, wife's in the coma in the hospital, and it's funny because when Counterpart mentioned, she's been dead for years. She had cancer. I thought cancer's an interesting thing for someone to get based on just on the ripples. Why would it affect her biology? What? And sure enough, by the end of the episode, I was kind of thinking, I don't know if that adds up.
I mean, to be fair, cancer can be caused by lifestyle choices.
It can be.
So there's the ripple. Okay, let's say that version took up smoking.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like, I don't know, I'm so used to people mentioning lung cancer specifically when it's that.
No, no, that's fair. But there are,
Yeah.
many types that are.
That's true, that's true. I just, it didn't, it, because it was such a vague thing, I was like, I don't know if I believe he's telling the
No,
truth.
no, I get it. I'm the same. You question
Yeah.
it, but I get why Howard does believe it
But
because
here's a good
there's
thing though.
enough, plausibility in it.
When he goes to the hospital, because obviously the whole mission is that he's going to pretend to be regular Howard because they think this assassin Baldwin, not one of the Baldwins, just a female assassin named Baldwin, who is coming to kill Emily, his wife, on this side of the crossing, to send a message to Counterpart, be like, oh, kill your wife on this side, blah blah blah, ha ha ha. But so he comes in, and of course the tell sign to the nurse that something's weird is that the flower, because what he does every time Howard comes in, he takes one flower out of the bunch and he puts it in the little vase for the reception. He's a very nice man.
As soon as he walks past, I'm like, oh, I know where this is going.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I liked about it. I like because we didn't know that the assassin was necessarily watching him. Because as soon as the assassin comes in, as soon as Baldwin comes in, and she's walking down the hall, and she sees that empty vase, and I'm like, oh, she's been watching his routine.
She knows something's wrong.
And I like that because she knows that this is a possibility, so she's been watching him closely so that she can spot any signs that something's wrong. I like that. I like that idea. But so the idea that she's dead though on like Counterpart Earth actually kind of works quite throughout the rest of the episode until you get the reveal, because when he comes in here and he sees Emily lying there dead, and it's like, oh, well, if she is dead in the other world, like this is kind of a moment for him. He's seen his wife, even if she's asleep, he's seen his wife again, and he kind of holds her hand, and it's kind of this like moment, and I'm like, oh, this works.
Something I have a question about. Was it his wife on the other side? Because he's surprised when R. Howard mentions the wedding.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
And something that confused me is,
and he backtracks because he backtracks and says, "Oh, we eloped," as if his sentence made sense. You're right, yeah.
Yeah, but he sounds surprised that they're married, but he provided the name, right? He goes, "Oh no, it's his wife. That's the target."
I don't think he says his wife. Now you're poking at this. I think he just says the name, and then like Howard or whatever goes, "Wait, my wife." Like or something like that.
Because he gets the information off screen, like he gives it to them. But the guy comes out and says, he says, "Oh no, the name he gave us was Emily Silk."
Yeah, true.
So unless
I wasn't looking for clues in that scene yet. I'd have to go back and watch it to suss that.
It just stuck out to me because he definitely said, no, that's the name that he's given us, and they know who that is. Because obviously,
married or not, they're definitely in a relationship, or they were in a relationship. Because
absolutely.
Because that's the thing. This moment in the hospital when he goes to touch her hand, it still plays in retrospect, because when you see her at the end and he goes to hold her hand, she pulls away. It doesn't play like she doesn't understand why he's doing that. It plays as, no, we were a thing in the past and we're not anymore. She's not, she hates him now.
Oh, they absolutely were in a relationship.
Yeah.
Even before that, in that, the scene where they're discussing this, he goes, oh, you've been married, what, 28 years? And he goes, oh, that's, right after we met each other. And it's like, so, that already implies, they had a relationship as well.
Yeah, so they might not have been married, but I don't think there's going to be some twist where, there were never, there were different people on that Earth where they hated each other the whole time, or anything like that. I mean, maybe there will be, I don't know, but it's certainly, I think emotionally, those beats with the hand in the hospital and the hand at the end work better if it is just a simple case of, he's not upset in the hospital because she's dead on his Earth, he's upset because... Like
he can't have her.
He can't have her, and like he's seen her here, and like
Here's a question about her.
Mm-hmm.
So we know she also works for this company on our Earth as well.
Oh sure, yeah, on our Earth.
Yeah, because when he goes in to ask for his promotion, he asks about the wife. He goes, oh, everyone, well, he says he never met her, but everyone liked her. I'm wondering how high ranking was she? Was she higher ranking than him?
Well, I thought you were going to ask, because we know she's working for them in the other Earth.
Yeah.
She seems quite high ranking over there as well.
Yes.
Right. So that seems clear from the context of the conversation. Not that they say a lot, but you just get that feeling. It's interesting. Does Coma Emily? Does she know all this stuff? At least the broad strokes of it, even if she doesn't know the details.
Has she just had this knowledge for however long and just never told Howard?
It's interesting, but like I say, go back to that scene where they're talking about her and stuff. I do actually like the thing, because at first Counter Howard. I'm trying to think of a way of calling him something including his name. He, like, at first he's really assumptive that he's the better version, and he's like, oh yeah, so all these little ripples just lead to the, all these little bad choices lead to who you are. It's like, or good ones. Howard like responds back, and I think it's interesting that this Howard's a much stronger Howard who's very, he's very capable. He's very strong. He does what he can. He's good at his job. He does all these things.
He's clearly more successful in that.
Yeah. However, he's alone. He doesn't have Emily. He doesn't have this happy marriage that was there until like 6 weeks ago. Like, so clearly there was a sacrifice made on that earth where he swapped the love for the career, essentially, and in the broadest strokes possible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I feel that's the easy thing to go down at some point.
And I like that. It reminds me a lot of a lot of the themes of Moon, and how Moon examined how one person just through the course of time is different from when he started. And this is, I mean, it's a slightly different setup, of course, but just the idea that he can analyze his own character by seeing what he would be had things went slightly differently at one point. Yeah. And that's the real interesting stuff for me about this show, is that them exploring all this stuff.
Absolutely, it's definitely the best part. And I say that as someone who likes, dry spy thrillers.
Yeah. And I really liked, there's like a good fist pumping moment, because they introduced Jimmy Bammer's character, who's like her brother. And he's here because he wants to move the body to England, back with the rest of her family. And her family don't seem to like J.K. Simmons that much. And he's like, oh no, I'm taking her back. And he hands him this contract. And Howard just kind of like weasels out of it. And he's like, just think about it, right? Leave the contract here. He doesn't. But it's when Counter Howard goes in, and he's like waiting for the assassin, and then Eric shows up, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna have to deal with this." And he knows who Eric is, because when he mentions him before, he's like,
"Oh, that guy's a prick."
He's like, "That shit's staying." Right. And I was like, "Oh man, this is going to be entertaining. This is almost going to be this will be a comedy scene almost, because Counter Howard is going to be a badass, and he's going to scare the shit out of him, and he does. Like, he's like, "Hey," what was the little thing he says? He says, "Hey, the most dangerous thing is when we run out of things to say, and it's all about action, and the last thing you want is me to be out of things to say." And I'm like, man, he's getting intimidating.
I did really enjoy that scene even before that point where Counter Howard makes that decision, because you have the guy in the car being like, just sign it, get him out of there.
Yeah, they don't even
whatever you got to do.
They don't care. Yeah, just get rid of her. It's fine.
Yeah, not our responsibility. But obviously, Howard's in the back of the car going, "Hey, no, that's my wife. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Don't ruin my life."
And Counter Howard makes that choice where he's not going to do that to him, because this is kind of his wife too, in a way.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting that does he do it because it's his wife too, or is it more just he has enough of a respect that he doesn't want to ruin this guy's life as well? And he's here to do his mission, but he doesn't want to make it worse for the guy.
Yeah, you can say, is it more selfish, or is it because he's deep down he's a good person? Honestly, I think it's a little column A, a little column B.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think there is that personal connection, but then there's I don't want to ruin this Howard's life. Especially since, as he says at the end when he's going back through, because we find out that they need visas to come through for like a day. They have missions, and he's got a visa to like deliver booze, because the booze is better over there apparently, to like someone over here. That's the excuse he's here for. And when he's going back through, it's like, oh, we'll need him again, so keep him involved and up to date and all the rest of it. And when I mentioned how we see a bit of an arc change already for Howard, is earlier on he goes up for this promotion. We see his work routine, all security measures, the fact that they all get changed into identical grey suits. They go into these little booths, presumably with people. He doesn't know this, but they're presumably people from the other side who come in, and they've got all these coded questions and envelopes, and they're like answering things, and like they don't even know what it means. Like, obviously there's people higher up looking at the responses and like seeing like how things.
Yeah.
And all of that works quite well. And there's, he stands in the circle, and the little right light turns. I'm sure we'll learn a bit more about why this process is like this, as we go on. But yeah, so he goes up for this promotion, and he goes up to Quail, who's like the sort of head honcho guy who's involved in this sort of mission. Him and the head of security dude, Aldrich. Which is fine, by the way. It's being set in Berlin. It's kind of a fun setting, because they're actually a lot of characters are German, and a lot of them speak German. We have subtitles, but obviously not when our main characters are speaking.
Yeah, so, it's a global corporation, or whatever that this is.
Yeah, but of course this is the only place on Earth where this exists. This has to be here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Which is why you have all these different people.
Exactly. So it's fun. But anyway, so he goes up for this promotion, and Quail's like, if it was going to happen, you've been here 30 years. Which, interesting, it's exactly 30 years.
I think it was 29.
Was it? So it's almost 30, okay. But it's interesting that it's right after the incident.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Yeah, this place was maybe just getting built over the thing as they were like signing these papers. Like, oh, can you come? Like,
Yeah.
you know, curious. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if we get flashbacks at some point to like the incident.
Yeah. The reason I said 29, I assume because his job wouldn't have existed beforehand, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's a good point. But
So they set up the structure pretty quickly by the sounds of it, and then went, all right, let's get people in.
yeah, it kind of sounds like they built a small thing around it and then just expanded it over time. So now we've got a big proper building and whatnot. But yeah, because he kept saying 3 decades, and it's just thinking about it, I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's right after this would have happened. So, but he's basically, yeah, if it was going to happen, it's going to happen. And he's kind of nice enough, but it's like, yeah, you're just kind of this old guy who's good at his job, but we just don't want, you never want to get promoted. We don't care about you.
It doesn't feel malicious.
Yeah.
It feels like, look, you're nice, you're good at what you do, but it's kind of a nice way of going, we don't think you're good enough to do the more important jobs, but we like you enough that stay where you are. We don't want to get rid of you.
Yeah, and and because of the way Howard is, he kind of just takes it and smiles, and he's obviously hurt by it, but he lets it go, and obviously his friend gets promoted instead, who ends up being murdered by the assassin. So he's gone. So now he wants his job by the end of the episode, and that's what I'm saying with the arc is that he turns around to Quail, because Quail says, so you're on board, you're going to stick with us and do these secret missions, so that no one felt, because obviously they're worried about infiltrators and other people and moles and all the rest of it, so they can't talk to anyone else about it. It's all secretive. And he's like, so you're on board then, you're with us, Howard, and Howard just ignores him and doesn't respond. And he's like, oh, what do you want, Howard? And Howard turns, like, well, I want my goddamn promotion. I want, I have earned this, I deserve it. And he stands his ground. And when Quail says, hey, that's not how it works, like, well, you need me, make it work. And he walks off. And it's like...
Well, I think it's interesting, when he says, oh, that's not how it works, I believe him.
Yeah, it's just a hierarchy. There's more to it than that.
I don't know. Do they have to be, verified by both sides? Going, okay, no, he can. Right, this person can have clearance.
Possibly, especially since they mention that like either no one or very few people have ever met their counterpart. Because Quill says that to him, and it almost seems like they deliberately avoid people on both sides getting the same positions.
Probably, yeah, exactly. Like, okay, let's not put them on the same path.
Yeah.
You just because you don't want them to meet each other because you drive a person crazy.
Yeah, well, because Quill even says that when he first got the intel, because presumably everyone, like, when they get higher up to find all this truth out about there being another Earth and it's like a bridge to it and all the rest of it, he's like, oh, when I get told I had weeks of therapy after, they have it all in place where it's a whole thing, and I'm like, damn, Howard just got thrown into the deep end. Like, here's JK2.
Yeah, exactly.
So but no, see, that stuff's so fascinating. So
all this stuff is like, oh, this is great. This gets my brain going.
All the mythology stuff,
even just the actual job that he's doing. I mean, because it's like you say, okay, they're starting a sentence and finishing a sentence based on what's in an envelope.
Yeah.
My best guess is they're trying to calculate how far they've diverged by, okay, if we've got the same codes, then okay, we're in sync. 60%.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah, that I can also see it being a way of passing intel in code without the people passing it knowing what it is.
Yeah, could be.
It could be that, but I like that idea though, that they're seeing how out of sync they are. That's not bad. That's not a bad shout. So you have the little mission, and you have the assassin shows up. She sees the vase is empty. She takes off her heels, so she's like walking quietly, and it becomes a bit of a chase. And you get that great moment where she's jumped out the window, she's outside, and she's right next to the car. And of course, that idiot, what's his name, Aldrich, the head of security guy, he's handcuffed Howard to the seat, and he's in the car, and she's not noticed him yet. And she's looking like around because she's looking up to see if other guys
just got her eyes closed, just taking a breather for a second.
And Howard's just staring at her, terrified the entire time.
Because there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, and then she sees him. She's about to shoot him, and then Howard shoots her in the face. Doesn't kill her. When I say the face, it's like a cheek shot. It's like the side of the cheek.
Yeah, it's plausible that, okay, no, that's going to hurt, but okay, no, you can run away after that.
Do you know, it almost feels more brutal to get shot in the face, but it'd be a survivable shot.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Because your cheek, there's nothing major in your cheek. You can shoot through your cheek. It's going to hurt. But,
don't try it at home, kids.
Don't recommend doing that. But my point is, you could shoot through your cheeks.
It's just flesh. Like, there's nothing,
exactly. There's nothing there. So, yep, that's going to hurt. But she doesn't even get, like, phased. She's just like, oh, okay, better go.
Yeah, because it knocks the gun out of her hand. She's okay. I need to run. He's got the drop on me.
He's got the high ground.
But yeah, so the whole action is very fun. All the mythology building is really fun. It's just a little bit slow in places. That's like really my only complaint at this point in time. And there's that nice little moment where Counterpart's going back through his gate. Because this is where, I mean, we see this because we realised, I think probably early on, but we were confirmed at the end that, or through the plot, that opening scene was in the other world, right? Because that was like the assassin before she came over. And it makes me wonder, how are people sneaking over if this gate's so heavily? Because we see all the security protocols.
I think that's why they assume that there's moles, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah,
someone's letting them through.
But
or to be fair, in the bag, where in that other opening scene in the bag, they go, there's visas and stuff.
True. They're forging their way through.
Yeah, exactly. As far as they're concerned, they should be going through. They just don't come back. Yeah,
that's interesting. But so he comes back through. He's got the tie, his favourite tie that he lost years ago, but Howard let him keep his because he's not been wearing it. Yeah, it's a nice little kind of thing. This sort of odd bond. Because I mean, you can't be closer to someone than yourself, right? I mean, there's a truth in that. Possibly even strengthened by the fact that you've grown to be different as well, because there's a difference too.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, but he comes back in and he sits down in a bar and he's getting a drink, and the song that's playing is the same song that regular Howard's listening to in his apartment. Yeah. And it's just this thing.
Both of them drinking scotch as well.
Yeah, similar taste.
The taste is still. I mean, that was a thing he said. He goes, "Oh no, taste buds, they shouldn't change."
Yeah, and of course that's why he's like, "No, but I had high cholesterol. That's why I'm not eating it. Like, I want it. It looks great, but I can't have it." And of course we get the final. And do you know what the funny thing was? This was the exact sort of show where I was saying to myself, like, from the halfway point to just before this final couple of scenes, this is a show that needs a hook at the end of the pilot. Yeah. There's going to be an extra thing they reveal at the end of the pilot that kind of flips things on its head a little bit. And it wasn't like a complete flip the table moment, but it was, okay, so the wife's alive in the other Earth, and she's like up, and she's in like an agent, and she's not in a good place with Counter Howard.
Yeah. And
she wants details on what's happening over there. That's what, she's there to grill him for information.
Pretty much. Almost seems like maybe she's his boss or something.
And it makes me wonder as well, like, are their intentions actually for the company or for the good reasons? I mean, they could be villains, but they could have their own, like, completely standalone goals that don't align with the corporation. Like, Yeah. I feel like all of that's kind of up for grabs at this point in time.
It is. It's hard to say because we just know so little.
Yeah, but it's really, really, really good. Yeah, like I say, a couple of minor complaints, maybe a little overlong, but I'm into the plot. Characters are good. So no. So I think it's safe to say we'll be back next week with episode 2.
Definitely.
Cool. So of course, give us your thoughts and theories. I feel like this is one that will get the theories going.
Oh, I should hope so. Heavily. Otherwise, you're all slacking.
Yeah. So please do theorize. Obviously, the one thing we haven't mentioned is he's got a friend that he plays games with on the like a small cafe.
Yes.
He does this before work, and he always loses.
Now the question is when we finally get the shot where he wins, what do they play it for? It's one of two possibilities. It's either no, this is the moment where he's become bolder. He's become more like Counter Howard, or that's actually the moment where it reveals to us that they've swapped places and this is Counter Howard. That's the way I'm going to see it. It's one of those two. Or
to go with the this is him changing thing, it could also be this reveal that he had it in him all along kind of thing to go along with that. I could see that kind of thing. Yeah. Like he hasn't intentionally been letting him win, but he's just not been aggressive enough to win. Although I do think his friend Andre that he plays with, I feel like he might turn out to be someone. He feels fishy to me.
That or he'll die.
But something fishy about him. That's all I'm saying. But no. So lots of details. And I have no idea what the rules are for the game that we're playing. I had no idea.
I don't know what game it is.
No. See when it was like, and it was like, not a checkmate, but it was essentially the checkmate moment where he wins. I'm like, okay, I'll take your word for it because I have no idea what that meant.
You're just putting dots down.
Yeah, no idea what's going on here, but curious. Maybe we'll all be playing by the end of season 1. We'll all look it up and go get ourselves boards for this game.
I mean, we said that when we watched Fargo season 3. We thought maybe we should play bridge, and then nah.
Oh yeah, that's true. This looks fun though. You've got all your little counters to play.
I'd rather just play chess.
Chess is okay.
Chess is okay. That's it. Okay.
I mean, I like it in theory. I've never really get into it properly though. I like the principles of chess.
I just like how many rules there are, but they make sense.
Anyway, that is Counterpart episode 1. So by all means, let us know what you think of the episode. Thoughts and feelings. Like and subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fudge for channel. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. You will find the audio versions of these reviews on our Almost Cancelled TV reviews audio feed. That feed has the cable shows and things like of that nature. Just search Mailfuzz TV on your podcast app. You'll find it. You'll get it on iTunes and whatnot. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?